this is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Today I have a very special treat for you. We have a brand new juicer out on the market that I'm always excited when I get a brand new juicer, and now I get to share with you guys. So as you can see, we have 3 different juicers on the table, and they all look fairly similar, but they're different. The brand new juicer is here in the middle. It's the all-new Omega Vert 330 or 330 HD model. So this is a heavy-duty model with the new 8 times stronger Ultim screen. So basically the only difference between this model here, the Omega Vert 350 HD, and the Omega Vert 330 HD is the color. So this one is in white, this one is in black. And they both have the heavy-duty screen for heavy-duty juicers for people that want to juice every single day. Now if you're not a heavy-duty juicer and you don't want to juice every day, maybe once a week, then over on this side, the Omega Vert 330, the regular Vert 330, they are still offering, and this would be a better choice for you because it is less money. But that being said, Discount Juicers only recommends these 2 models, the Vert 330 HD and the Vert 350 HD, for the one primary reason is that the main problem with the original Vert 330 was the screen breaking. And I've found that with the new Ultim screen, basically I haven't had any complaints of the screen breaking. It's much more durable. So with that, what we're going to do today is we're going to juice some celery, apple, and some collard greens out of my garden, and this will make a nice delicious green juice for us. But before we do that, I want to specifically go over the differences between these 2 models here. Once again, this is the Omega Vert 330 HD and the original Omega Vert 330. So first you can see the units are identical. We could take these units apart. They both come with a pusher and they both come with the top here. They both have the same black Ultim auger. This auger is 8 times stronger than melamine augers on other juicers. And the main difference that you'll see is these parts right here. This is the juicing screen on the Omega Vert 330 HD model. This is 8 times stronger. This is out of the Ultim material. I've had a lot of issues with customers breaking their standard screen in the original 330. So now Omega is coming out with the 330 HD, or the heavy duty with the heavy duty screen. So definitely for people that have been wanting the 350 in white, now they have that opportunity to get the Omega Vert 330 HD. So the only difference is the screen. All the other parts are identical, and I highly recommend that you get the version with the Ultim screen, the HD version, because it just lasts longer. It's going to be more trouble-free. With that, all these juicers on the table, all the Omega Verts, they run at the low 80 RPMs or revolutions per minute. That's how fast it spins. And that means it's going to give you a higher quality juice than other juicers that run at high speed. Some juicers run at 13,000 RPM, so that's a lot faster. And they're also noisier. These are also really quiet. One of the other benefits of the Omega Vert juicers is this. This is an automatic wiping system that basically turns around as you're juicing. And this wiping system has a silicone basically wiping blades that keep the screen clean so that you will get the highest yield. Also, it makes cleanup a snap. The other thing that's really nice about these machines is that after you're done juicing, you can just take a pitcher of water and pour the water through the machine, and it'll help you actually clean the machine out and get and dislodge a lot of the extra pulp and juice in the machine. So without further ado, let's get juicing. So first we're going to turn the Omega Vert 330 HD on. And once again, all these models on the table, they basically operate the same exact way. They'll get the same exact yield. The only differences between these 2 units are the color. And the only differences between these 2 units, once again, are the screen. So when you are juicing things like kale and celery that have strings, it's always best to break it up into into pieces, about 2-inch long pieces. That way the fibers of the vegetables will not get stuck in the machine. So we're going to go ahead and juice some celery. We're just going to simply break it off into some small pieces to feed in the machine. Really simple and real easy. And once again, we are going to alternate our produce. So you just saw I put some leaves in there, then I put some celery. Now I'm going to put some collards in there as well and breaking it up. Mainly this machine is fairly self-feeding. It'll accept the produce in and it'll just take it in there and juice it. And you can see the automatic wiping blade in there going around and wiping the screen clean to get all the juice out of the machine as you're juicing your vegetables. You can see on the left side over here, all that delicious kale celery juice is coming out. And this juicer does include 2 pitchers to catch your juice, which is real nice. One catches the juice actually, and the other on this side catches the pulp. And you can see the Omega Vert 330 HD is slowly ejecting the pulp. And the reason why it is slowly coming out is because the pulp stays inside the machine until it's fully extracted. Then and only then does the Omega Vert 330 HD release the pulp when it is pretty dang dry. So this juicer is very efficient at juicing most things, especially the leafy greens. It does a really, really good job. So I'm going to continue to juice more of the collard greens. Next, we're going to go ahead and cut into this apple. So for best results when juicing fruits with the Omega Vert 330 HD, you want to get a nice firm apple. You don't want to get soft, mealy apples. If you put soft, mealy apples through the Omega Vert, what's going to happen is that you will get an apple sauce. The Omega Vert really needs hard, fibrous fruits and vegetables to work optimally. So the fruits that work the best are harder, firmer fruits that aren't old, such as apples and pears. Even if you want to juice pineapples, this juicer will juice pineapples really well. You got to remember though, you got to get nice and firm pineapples that are fresh. If you get pineapples that are going bad, that are soft, then it's not going to work quite as well. This juicer really needs that hard fiber. But when it does have that hard fiber, it really does an amazing job and a good job at juicing it. So we're going to continue to juice here. I'm just putting pieces of celery into the machine. As you can see, the pulp is still coming out of the machine very slowly. You can see it extract all the juice from the celery strand. You can see all the celery strands coming out here in pieces from the juicer. Now this is a nice standard green juice. It's basically, the celery is the base, which is really good, nice and mild. Celery has a lot of electrolytes in it. And then the apples are in there. They give it some sweetness, and of course, can't forget the leafy greens. The leafy greens here, nice tree collards, really rich in chlorophyll, also have a nice purple tinge. When it's winter time, these actually get a lot sweeter, just like a lot of leafy greens, especially the cruciferous leafy greens like the kale and the collards. They get sweeter in the winter time due to the cold weather. So we all need to be juicing our leafy greens because most people don't eat enough of them. So I'm continuing to juice more of this celery here, piece by piece. Really simple to break up and feed into the juicer. Now we're going to put another piece of apple in there. And we're going to follow that by, once again, more collard greens. One of the questions I get a lot is, hey John, what about all that foam that the juicer's making? Well, you know what? Every juicer will produce some level of foam, whether a little bit or a lot. And the level of foam that a juicer makes depends on specifically what you're juicing. Most juicers tend to create more foam when juicing leafy greens than other produce. And if I was juicing something like leafy greens with carrots, then there would be much less of the foam. Foam is perfectly fine to drink. Sometimes people mix it up, or sometimes people ladle it off, depending on your preference, on what you prefer. I personally don't mind the foam, and will actually just mix it up into my juice. So let's juice some more apples in here. And while I'm juicing, I also want to talk about the cost of juicing. So it's always less expensive to buy a juicer and then make your own juice instead of going to a juice bar and buying the same juice. I've got emails lately where people are basically paying $9, $10 for an organic juice that they could make at home for literally a fraction of the cost. Plus at your home, you're probably going to be using a much more higher quality juicer that runs at a lower RPM. Most of the commercial juicers on the market run at a fast, high speed RPM, so they oxidize some of the juice, which is not quite as good. Plus, many people may buy the juice, take it home, and then drink it later, where it's always best to make the juice and then drink it right after you make it for the highest quality and the highest benefit. So we have a couple more pieces of apple and celery we're going to feed into the machine, and one last collard green, and then we're going to call it a day juicing with the all-new Omega Vert 330 HD. So the Omega Vert HD juicers are my favorite juicers right now, because you can basically juice a wide variety of produce, from fruits and vegetables. It does it all. It gets a high yield. It does an amazing job on most tasks. That being said, you want to choose the juicer that's going to be best for you, despite me saying that it does most things. If you don't, maybe you want to juice mostly leafy greens, well then I don't recommend this juicer. But for the average person that wants to juice a myriad of fresh fruits and fresh vegetables, this one's going to do a really good job for what it is. It runs at a low RPM, oxidizes the juice release, really easy to clean. It actually has an automatic wiping blades that assists in you cleaning it, and it's relatively fast, easy, and takes little counter space. Alright, so here's the last apple we're going to put in the machine. Drop it right in there, sucks it right in, juices it right up. You can see the pulp is still coming out, no problem. And when you do get this machine, you may notice the pulp is only coming out of like half of the ejection port. The other half seems to be stopped up. And that's totally normal. As long as pulp is still moving out of the ejection port and not just stopped, it's still working. So don't be alarmed if half the ejection port gets clogged up with, say, celery or leafy greens. As long as pulp is still flowing, you're still juicing, and it's all good. The other thing to remember is once you put the produce into the machine, you need to give the machine some time to work and to extract all the nutrition out of the produce you're putting in. So right now the juicer is still working, even though it's been at least 30 seconds since we put the produce in. It's still working. So we're not going to yet turn the machine off, because if you turn the machine off now, there's leftover juice that you could be getting out. So now we're going to turn the juicer off. Our juice is finished, and we're going to check it out. Here it is, our juice. We do have a small bit of foam in there, and the way I like to deal with that is we'll take actually a glass straw. Like to just mix up the foam a little bit. The other thing is, if you take a straw and you drink your juice, you get the juice from the bottom, so you're not drinking actually the foam. That's one delicious green juice with apple, celery, and collard greens. So hopefully you've learned more about the all-new Omega Vert 330 HD. Basically, it's the same as the 350, but in white, and it's the upgraded model over the Omega Vert 330. So once again, this is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Be sure to visit DiscountJuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for our YouTube visitors.